Hello, dear children. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jisha Jo. In this session, we shall see what is double circulation. We shall also discuss about the hepatic portal system, pulse, and blood pressure. First, we shall see what is double circulation. As we have already seen, blood from the heart is pumped from the left ventricle through the aorta to the different parts of the body. I'm just drawing the diagram. That is the heart there. Okay, the heart. That is the septum. Okay, so you can see from this is the right side of the heart, this is the left side of the heart, and we can see that this is the left auricle, this is the left ventricle, this is the right auricle and right ventricle. So blood is pumped from the left ventricle through the aorta. Through the aorta, blood is pumped to the different parts of the body. Okay, so body parts. Okay, that is the aorta. Okay, so that is left ventricle. So from the different body parts, the aorta supplies the necessary oxygen and nutrients to the different body parts, and from the different body parts, the carbon dioxide and the waste materials are carried away from the different body parts and is drained into the right auricle. Is drained into the right auricle through the, we know it is the vena cava. Vena cava. Okay, then this blood which is drained from, which is brought from the different body parts and drained into the right auricle is passed through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle, that is the right ventricle, and from the right ventricle this blood is carried to the lungs for oxygenation. Okay, that is the lungs there. The two lungs, we have the two lungs, so it is carried for oxygenation into the lungs. Through, we have seen it is the pulmonary artery. Okay, so in the lungs, oxygenation takes place, that is the carbon dioxide which is brought from the different body parts is removed, and oxygen from the alveoli diffuses into the blood in the capillaries and surrounding the alveoli, and from the two lungs the blood is brought back through the pulmonary vein into the left auricle. This is what we have seen. This is how the blood flow takes place in the body. So blood from the left ventricle passes through the aorta to the different body parts. From the body parts, carbon dioxide and the waste materials are collected. The carbon dioxide especially brought back to the through the vena cava into the right auricle. From the right auricle, it passes through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle, from where it is carried through the pulmonary artery into the lungs for oxygenation, and from the lungs the oxygenated blood passes through the pulmonary vein into the left auricle, which is drained into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, again it is taken by aorta to the different parts of the body. This is how the blood circulation takes place in our body. And if you look at the figure, you can see two circulations here. That is, one is a long circulation. Can you see, from starting from the left ventricle to the different body parts, and from the different body parts through the vena cava, entering in the right auricle. So that is a long circulation, and this long circulation which supplies blood to the body parts, this is called as the systemic circulation. Systemic circulation. And the second circulation is a short circulation, as you can see. That is, it starts from the right ventricle. The blood flows through the pulmonary artery into the lungs, and from the lungs through the pulmonary vein, the blood is drained into the left auricle. So that is a short circulation. Okay, and it is called as the pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary circulation. So as you can see, there are two circulations taking place in our body. That is the long circulation, which is the systemic circulation, and the short circulation, which is the pulmonary circulation. And when the blood makes, the blood from the heart has to pass both through the systemic circulation and also through the pulmonary circulation to complete one full round. So this circulation is called double circulation, because the blood passes through the heart twice to complete one full circulation. To complete one full circulation, blood flows through the heart twice. As you can see, blood from which is oxygenated blood, which is brought into the left auricle, is passed into the left ventricle. Okay, and from the left ventricle through the aorta. So this is the first time it goes out. Then from the different body parts, now the second time the blood has entered into the heart, which is carried back to the lungs. So to complete one full circulation, the blood flows twice through the heart, and that is why the circulation is called double circulation. Double circulation. Okay, so I hope that is clear. That is, there are two circulations in our body. The long circulation, which is called as the systemic circulation, which starts from the left ventricle, carrying oxygenated blood to the different parts of the body through the aorta, and from the different parts of the body through the veins, and finally through the vena cava, the deoxygenated blood is drained into the right auricle. That is the long circulation. It is called a systemic circulation. And the second circulation, which starts from the right ventricle, carrying the deoxygenated blood through the pulmonary artery into the lungs, and where oxygenation takes place, and the oxygenated blood is brought back to the left auricle through the pulmonary vein. Okay, so that is a short circulation and is called as the pulmonary circulation. And for completing one full circulation, the blood has to flow twice or two times through the heart. And that is the reason why the circulation is called as double circulation. Now next we shall see what is hepatic portal vein. We have already seen that the capillaries rejoin to form the venules. The different venules rejoin to form the vein, and the largest vein is the vena cava, which drains the deoxygenated blood into the right auricle. Okay, so normally a vein begins in capillaries. A vein always begins with capillaries. That is, the rejoining of the capillaries result in the formation of the smallest vein, that is the venule. But in hepatic portal system, or hepatic portal vein is a vein which, it is an example of a vein which begins and ends in capillaries. Normally, a vein will begin with capillaries, but it does not end in capillaries. As you can see, the capillaries rejoin to form the venules. The venules, different venules rejoin to form the veins, and the different veins rejoin and form the largest vein, which is the vena cava, which drains the blood into the right auricle. Okay, but portal vein is a vein that begins and ends in capillaries, and hepatic portal vein is an example of a portal vein. So we have studied in 9th standard that in our intestine, do you know the structures present in the intestine that helps in the absorption of the digested food? The finger-like structures, finger-like projections in the intestine, do you remember? They are called as the villi. We know through the villi are richly supplied with blood vessels, and the digested food is absorbed through the villi, and the food passes into the blood that is flowing through the capillaries of the villi. And this blood is not directly conveyed into the posterior vena cava. Instead, this blood which contains the digested food is first brought into the liver. So suppose if that is the stomach there, okay, that is the stomach, and that is the intestine. Okay, that is the intestine, and that is the liver there. Okay, that is the liver. Okay, that is the liver there. So we know the digested food is absorbed by the villi, the blood capillaries present in the villi. Digestion takes place from the stomach. Mostly absorption of the food materials take place from the intestine. So it occurs at the capillary level, and these capillaries from the stomach and the intestine, okay, and the intestine, so these are the capillaries, as you can see here. The capillaries rejoin to form the vein. But actually this vein is has to drain. Normally this vein drains the blood from any organ. The vein drains the blood into the vena cava. Okay, but in a portal system, you can see that this is a vein which starts and ends in capillaries. As you can see, the digested food that is absorbed by the capillaries, these capillaries rejoin to form the vein, and this vein, now instead of pouring the blood into the posterior vena cava, carries it first into the liver. Carries this blood containing the digested food into the liver, and in the liver it again breaks up into capillaries. As you can see here, it again divides into capillaries. So this is also capillaries. So such a vein which starts and ends in capillaries is called as a portal vein. And this is called hepatic portal vein. Hepatic, it is related with the liver. Okay, so that is why it is called as the hepatic portal vein. So hepatic portal vein is an example of a portal vein. What is a portal vein? A vein which begins and ends in capillaries. So here what happens, the digested food is absorbed by the capillaries of the villi. These capillaries rejoin and form the hepatic portal vein. And it carries the digested food first into the liver. And in the liver, once this vein, portal vein reaches the liver, it again breaks off into capillaries in the liver. And then these capillaries rejoin and come out of the liver as the hepatic vein. Okay, so the oxygenated blood is brought into the liver. Every organ, we know every organ in our body needs oxygenated blood. As we can see in the liver, the oxygenated blood is brought by the hepatic artery. It is the artery that provides oxygenated blood to any organ of the body, and the artery that brings oxygenated blood to the liver is called as the hepatic artery. And the blood vessel that carries deoxygenated blood from the liver is called as the hepatic vein. Okay, and there is another vein that enters or that carries blood into the liver from the stomach and intestine. This is called as the hepatic portal vein. So there are two blood vessels that carry blood into the liver. One is the hepatic artery, which carries oxygenated blood. Okay, and the second is the hepatic portal vein, which carries the digested food from the stomach and the intestine. And which is the blood vessel that leaves the liver? The blood vessel that leaves the liver is the hepatic vein. Similarly, if we take the case of kidney, you can see always remember, it is the artery that provides oxygenated blood to any of the organ in our body. So the artery that carries oxygenated blood to the kidney is the renal artery, and the blood vessel that carries deoxygenated blood from the kidney is the renal vein. Okay, but here, in addition to the hepatic artery, which carries oxygenated blood, there is another blood vessel that enters or that carries blood into the liver. Actually, this blood is rich in digested food material, and it is carried through the hepatic portal vein. So what is a portal vein? A portal vein is a vein which begins and ends in capillaries, and hepatic portal vein is an example of a portal vein. Okay, so that is with regard to the portal vein. Now, why is it that the blood from the stomach, the blood that is carried from the stomach and intestine is not drained into the posterior vena cava, but it is actually taken into the liver? Why is it like that? The first reason is that, okay, the digested food may contain excess glucose, more than what the body requires. Excess glucose might be present in the digested food. So before this is circulated throughout the body, before it being circulated throughout the body, this food or this digested food which contain excess glucose is brought into the liver, so that the excess glucose may be stored in the liver as glycogen. And only what is needed by the body is being circulated to the different parts of the body. So that is the first reason. So to remove the excess glucose that might be present in the digested food, in the liver, it will be converted and stored as glycogen. And the second reason is that if at all if there's any poisonous substance that is present in the food that we have taken in, okay, if it is poured into the vena cava, naturally it will be brought to the heart, from the heart to the lungs, and it will be carried to all the different parts of the body. So if there is a poisonous substance that is present in our food, before it gets spread throughout the body, what happens in the liver? The poisons will be removed. So these are the two reasons why the digested food is carried from the intestine and stomach into the liver before it is being conveyed into the posterior vena cava. The first reason is that the excess glucose will be removed and will be stored as glycogen in the liver. And the second reason is that if there is any poisonous substance present in the food, that will be also removed by the liver. Okay. So I hope that is also clear to you. Now we shall see what is pulse. Okay, we all have experienced doctors feeling our pulses when we go to the doctor for checkups, isn't it? What is this pulse actually? Pulse is the alternate expansion and elastic recoil of the artery wall as a result of ventricular systole. We know, we have seen, it is during ventricular systole the blood is forcibly pumped into the aorta. Okay, so the blood is under high pressure and it is forcibly pumped into the aorta, and this causes the wall of the aorta to expand. We have already seen the wall of the aorta is elastic and the wall expands. Okay, and once the systole is over, then that is after the initial pumping of the blood with great force into the artery, there is a slow flow of blood in the artery. So during which the recoil of the artery wall takes place. This alternate expansion and recoil of the wall of the artery during ventricular systole is called as pulse. So actually counting the pulse is indirectly counting the heartbeat. That is why we say by counting our pulse, doctor gets an idea about the heartbeat. So what is pulse? It is the alternate expansion and elastic recoil of the wall of the artery during ventricular systole. So during ventricular systole, blood is forcibly pumped into the artery. As a result, the artery wall expands, and after the pumping, after that forceful flow, the blood flows in a slow, means not in with such great force, the blood flows uniformly, and during which the wall of the artery recoils. Okay, this is called as pulse. So what is pulse? Once again, pulse refers to the alternate expansion and elastic recoil of the wall of the artery during ventricular systole, and counting of the pulse is indirectly counting the heartbeat. Now you might have heard of the term blood pressure. What is blood pressure? It is actually, we know the blood flowing through the arteries is under high pressure. Okay, so this pressure exerted by the blood that flows through the artery on the wall of the artery is called as blood pressure. What is blood pressure? The pressure exerted by the blood flowing through the arteries on the wall of the artery is called as blood pressure. Okay, and there are two limits for this pressure. That is the upper limit, which is called as the systolic pressure, which is recorded during ventricular contraction. We know during ventricular contraction, the blood is forcibly pumped with great pressure into the artery, and this pressure noted during ventricular contraction is called systolic pressure. Systolic pressure. And the pressure that is the lower limit of the pressure, which is called as the diastolic pressure, is noted when the wave has passed over. That is the diastolic pressure. So upper limit is the systolic pressure, which is recorded at the time of the contraction of the ventricle. That is called as the systolic pressure. And the diastolic pressure is recorded when the wave has passed over. Okay. And the normal blood pressure in adult is about 100 to 140 millimeters systolic pressure, and 60 to 80 millimeters diastolic pressure. Normal blood pressure is 100 to 140. 100 to 140 millimeter systolic pressure and 60 to 80 millimeter diastolic pressure. That is the normal blood pressure in an adult. And a rise in blood pressure from 140/90, that is a systolic pressure 140 and diastolic pressure 90. A rise in above this, a rise in this pressure will result in a condition called hypertension. Okay, so rise in blood pressure above the normal pressure will result in a condition called hypertension. hypertension. So what is blood pressure? The pressure which the blood that flows through the arteries exert on the wall of the arteries is called blood pressure. There are two limits for this pressure. This upper limit, which is called as the systolic pressure, and it is about 100 to 140 millimeter in a normal adult. And the lower limit is called as the diastolic pressure, which is about 60 to 80 millimeter in a normal adult. A rise in blood pressure above the normal limit results in a condition called hypertension. Okay, and systolic pressure is recorded during ventricular systole when the blood is forcibly pumped into the artery, and the diastolic pressure is noted when the wave has passed over. So dear children, in this session we have seen what is double circulation. We have seen the difference between systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation. We have also discussed about the hepatic portal vein, pulse and blood pressure. So I hope what we have learned in this session is clear to you. If you have any doubts or suggestions, please ask your doubts and give your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.